Hello, welcome back to the Fixing Football podcast. We are officially back. I'm not going to say season 2, but we've had a mid-year break just because we needed one. I had a baby. Babies are hard. We needed to not talk about, as Liam said in the Bolton Wanderers preview, we needed to not talk about Chelsea in the Club World Cup for 5 minutes. So break's been good. As always, I'm joined by Liam O'Meara, my co-host, business partner, and let's say friend. Liam.
Yeah. I would agree. I would agree with that. Yeah. I mean, it's been a bit of a longer break for you because I sort of filled in a little bit, and you think you came back, did one, and realised that we were sort of filling in some dead space a little bit, weren't we? Because I think other years we've had international tournaments, whereas this one, obviously Women's Euros matters. I'm not saying that don't matter, but I think a break did us all a bit of good. In my
2 years. We're 2 years old now. The YouTube channel is officially 2 years old. I got the alert this week. So that brings us on nicely to who are we? Who are we, Liam? This is the point now where we start taking this thing a little bit more seriously. So I want to progress this podcast and make it become something that is a hub for other people to come to and talk about football in a way that is not clickbaity or just like driven by more social media traffic. It's people who actually want to talk about the game a little bit and maybe deep dive some topics, maybe be silly a few times, maybe talk shit, have a drink, have a laugh. That's sort of who we are. We are both from the lovely God's country in Bolton, but I'm an Arsenal fan. This is going back to the introducing episode here. We're going way, way back.
Yeah, we are.
I'm an Arsenal fan because my dad was a Man United fan and I just went the opposite way when I was getting into football, and that was it. I just picked and that was it. I did try with Bolton, to be fair, but it weren't for me. Sometimes it's just not for you, mate. You can't force it.
No, I get that. I do get that. Look, who you support, it's not really about that. You just end up with that affinity. For me, my dad's a Bolton fan. There's obviously a Celtic element as well, but generally it's always been Bolton. But it was more my experiences growing up.
That was a big part of you growing up. Where it was never a thing for me, going to the match.
But it wasn't even. I mean, I do remember like Burnham Park with my dad and the early years at the thing with my dad. But the thing I remember most and where I really started to enjoy it more was when I started going with my mates. I've always not that I obviously don't like watching football with my dad, because of course I do, and it's probably the only thing we can actually do together, really. We watched the Bolton Stockport game this weekend together, so you'll always have that. But it was always going with my mates that I've always enjoyed, and it was never always the football. It was the day of the football. So this weekend for me is the real first game of the season because it's when we're at home first. We didn't get tickets for Stockport. Now, I'm not saying that game doesn't count because obviously the league it definitely counts. But I'm looking forward to the proper first game of the season, which is the first game at home, and we'll make a bit of a day of it, and that's it's always been that for me. It's not. I mean, I like football, but I enjoy the more everything around football as much as I enjoy the football.
So that's who we are. That's our background. Obviously, we've grown up together. But what do we want this podcast to be about? I sort of highlighted it, but what is it for you? Why do you want to do a podcast like this? Apart from the fact that I asked you.
And you give me about 30 seconds before such a life-affirming philosophical question, about 30 seconds for the podcast. But if I was to answer it, what it means to me is I do enjoy talking about topics around football with you, with Scott, even with Luke occasionally. I do like doing it. I like putting my view across. I like the idea that I can say it, maybe challenge other views as well. And the idea that maybe I'm offering something that might give something people to think about. Like I will just say what I think about something. It might be, and a lot of time I'll be wrong. Like I believe I did pronounce our new midfielder's name completely wrong.
Did you? What was it?
Yeah. Well, I think it's Hahan, so something like that. Yeah, I know. And I got a lot of stick for saying I don't listen to a Baltimore podcast, which, yeah, I was on a Baltimore podcast for about 5 years. So that was a bit thing. But no, I just enjoy the conversation. I enjoy the topics, and it's a bit of a break from the reality of what we do for a living, which not saying people at work listen to this podcast. I'm not saying I don't enjoy my work, but I do enjoy being able to pretend to show some kind of expertise in something else that I care deeply about mine. What about for you?
Yeah, the same. I want to talk about football in the way that I like to consume football media. Like, I'm a big fan of some of the maybe more intellectual type creators out there, the people who are good at speaking and writing, things where people take a bit more of a deep dive, not to get too nerdy about tactics and people showing off and stuff, but I do like to get stuck in a little bit to some conversations and be it more than the length of a tweet and the length of a social media post, and just maybe have a little bit more insight and discussion around certain things, because I think we're in a world where everything has to be super black and white, and this person's shit, and this is outrageous, and this is a travesty or whatever. There's sometimes a lot more nuance and explanations worth talking about, rather than just the headline grabbing stuff all the time.
Well, yeah. I mean, I was, for 10 years, I wrote blogs on board.
Yep.
But unfortunately, that medium dwindled. Like, you don't see a lot of it now. And I'm not comparing the blogs, which they were a passion for me. I really enjoyed doing that. I'd spend time, I'd construct something. They weren't a 1 hour job. I would spend afternoons writing, and they writing 500 word pieces. So they weren't long, but I would spend time to make sure that I was happy with it. But the problem is that medium's dying. And so if you want to sort of do that kind of creation stuff, this is the way to do it. And you can see it even in normal print media. A lot of print media have moved either towards The Athletic, which is the idea of that all in one place, that subscription-based stuff where everything is there in one place, or they've essentially done this as well. You've got people like Henry Winter that are now freelance.
The idea of The Athletic is good, though, because it is substantially higher quality. Like, they were doing subscription basis from the beginning. So, like, they've always gone for quality over quantity as well, which I appreciate. I think it's
I do like
worth paying for.
Yeah, I do like The Athletic. I don't read a lot of the club-based stuff. I tend to read more of the open-ended football stuff, and I do like the Totally Football podcast as well. That's a good podcast. So it's not a criticism of The Athletic. It's just that sort of approach seems to be what the future is, really.
Yeah. Well, that and short form and TikTok and Instagram Reels and stuff, and it's part of doing this is advertising yourself in the best way. But what I don't want to do, or never wanted to do, is produce content made for that, because I don't like it. I don't like getting my news from TikTok
we're too old for that as well. We look like perverts, so we're too old. We're too old for that. I mean, don't get me wrong. I get like some of the ones that have been doing it for a while, they've become synonymous with it, but you can't enter that sphere. It's not us either. Like,
no, I want to create something that I would like to listen to, and I think that's the only way you can maintain any sort of. I'm trying to think of the word now. Honesty, make it genuine.
Integrity is the word you're looking for.
Integrity is the right word, yeah.
Don't get me wrong. I'm partial to a little bit of rage bait every now and then, but
yeah, I know. I've noticed on our Twitter feed.
But in terms of short form media, no, that's I agree with you. We want to build something longer term, and
well, that leads me on to my sort of final point on this reintroduction to us. Well, what do we want to do with this? Where could this go, really? If it become a little bit more popular, say a few of the 100 people who are listening now subscribed and told a mate about it, and where we are in a year's time, where could this be? Because I've got a plan. I've got an idea.
I mean, you're probably better placed to answer this than me. However, in terms of two things that I think are important about what this might be is, number one, we have to keep enjoying it.
Exactly, yeah.
That has to happen, because sometimes, if we're being honest, it can be a bit of a slog. So, and
that break was needed, mate.
There may be weeks where we have a break. It's not the end of the world. So I think that's we need to enjoy it. Number one. Number two, where can I see it going? I think it's it wouldn't be a stretch that it's quite a crowded space, the old football podcasting world. So it is quite crowded. But if we're in a position where we can contribute to more established podcasts on any of a collective and individual basis, I think that is a realistic medium to long-term goal.
Yeah, I totally agree. As we've started in some of the fan previews as well, I think that's something that can continue to grow. So I'm looking forward to that and getting more people involved, a bit more of a community aspect to it.
We should probably, and I'm as probably as guilty of this as anyone, but we did a lot of very good networking at the last awards night, but because we got pissed up and then kind of forgot about it, we didn't really follow up on any of that. So
this year we will.
I was going to say, if we're lucky enough to be nominated, I don't know, when do we find out about
that? Good question. I'm hoping soon, as nominations are just closed. So
we could go anywhere, couldn't we? We're like,
I guess so.
We don't have to be nominated. We could just pretend. No one would know.
But this is a sort of open invite as well for other creators and other people who'd like to talk this sort of way about football and have a laugh, and get involved, because I know a lot about one club and a medium amount about the Premier League and very little about everything else. I like to dip in here and there and pick up on stories, but
can I just say, unless the judges are listening to this particular episode and we know loads about the Premier League, that was the category we got in last time. So I would make it very clear we know it inside out.
Well, but I like to speak to a Newcastle fan who knows equal amounts of what I think I know about Arsenal and get that sort of insight. And I want to do that on more and more episodes. So I'll tell you what I want to do, mate.
I don't know about Newcastle. They're very touchy. Yeah, they're a bit militant at the moment. So yeah.
Maybe Crystal Palace, someone like that, someone cool and chill.
Yeah, not Forest and not Newcastle.
Yeah, there's a few clubs actually. There's a growing list of touchy fans. I'll tell you what I want to do, mate. Long-term goal. I want to use this podcast to buy a football club.
Okay, well, okay. I mean, I didn't see that coming.
No. Just imagine there's a bombshell here. I'm going to chat to this bit, but if we are trying to fix football, imagine if we could build a football club in our image. This is I'm saying. There's not much to do in the world, but there's little tweaks here and there, and I think with the community behind us, and you've seen even the likes of #United have just raised like £5 million on some crowdfunding thing to help put themselves towards a new stadium. Aaron Hunt, who's a fellow Northern creator, just put his money into Daisy Hill Football Club.
Yeah, I mean that's on our doorstep, isn't it? I played cricket for Daisy Hill. That's literally on our doorstep.
I played against Daisy Hill a few times. They were a good setup, always tough, but they're always going to be where they're going to be. I know they've got a bit of social media influence behind them and a bit of money coming in and angry gingers involved and
he named the stadium. He sponsored the stadium and named it after himself.
Yeah. But if you imagine our old football club, Horwich St Mary's, if you chucked 100 grand at them from some YouTube sponsorship, what they could do with that, I mean, how far that goes. Horwich St Mary's used to be, I don't know if it still is, but was the biggest football club in terms of participants and junior teams, the biggest football club in the Northwest.
I wouldn't be shocked if it's still the case, to be completely honest.
It may be.
Even when we were there as kids, it was massive. I mean,
massive. So just imagine what some money goes. So anyway, that's my long-term goal, and that's what I think Not that I'm going to do anything about it right now, but maybe
Well, I was going to say, I mean, it's
maybe
good.
with the podcast they're having a little bit more success and a little bit growing, and
the financial commitment there. You know, I literally bought Newcastle United socks because they were £1.50 on M&M Direct. I'm not quite in. You know, my football investment money is not great at the moment, but it's a nice plan.
That's what I'm going to do. So that's how we can. And then that's our retirement goal. Then imagine us just new owners of Horwich St Mary's or insert club here.
Yeah, maybe not Horwich St Mary's.
I don't know.
Too many people care about that club.
This is what I want. This is what you want. You want community. I'm not reeling it out.
It's not still got an Alex Abbott shirt in there, has it?
May do. That'll be coming down.
Yeah.
So that's who we are as a podcast. What we want to do is keep creating good content, fun, semi-intellectual football stuff that we care about and that we want to talk about. I'm trying to think of any other words here to add, mate. How we can wrap this section up.
Let's have some fun.
Let's have some fun. I agree with that. We're going to fix something. We just don't know what yet, and we're just going to.
We're going to touch on some stuff. We're going to touch on some stuff in the second half, aren't we? But what to expect normally from what we will be doing over the next few weeks.
While we're doing that, and while we have a 2-minute break, we have the fantasy football. The Fantasy Premier League is open now. Our code can be found on our Instagram and X, if you're going to go with that, or Facebook, or YouTube channel. If you look around, you will find the code to join our league. And please do. There is a grand prize for our subscribers. Now, you must be subscribed to the YouTube channel to be in with a chance of winning a prize. So there's a lot of people already in the league. You might not be subscribed to the channel. So go and do that. And then get involved and pit your wits against us. If you can fix my fantasy team while you're ongoing, that would be much appreciated. I'm not a Reddit forum type of fantasy Premier League player. I usually go with my heart over my head a lot of the time.
Yes, that is very true.
Are you having Gyökeres in your team?
I've not even looked at it yet. It's too early. It's too early. I'm not averse. What's his price?
9.5.
Not terrible, because he will play every week. That's guaranteed. He's gonna start up front. So, to be honest, possibly. I mean, what's Isak now?
10.5.
Because if Isak's at Liverpool, then that's
maybe 11. I'm not sure. Maybe 11.
Yeah,
he's up
Isak
there.
At Liverpool. That's Haaland numbers, I reckon.
We'll get stuck into it. Anyway, our league is open. Please join us. Please get involved, and we will see you after this short break. And we're back. Second break in a row. I enjoy these breaks. Liam, I'm massively injured. I've got Creamfields coming up in a couple of weeks, which I'm absolutely buzzing for. But I'm trying to get out of dad bod mode and get back to some sort of fighting shape. And I'm so injured. And do you know what caused it?
Go on.
This is how we know we're middle-aged now.
Wait, don't say we.
We are middle-aged. Sleep. So with the newborn who's still in our room, we're on a 2 and 3 hour sleep cycle. And one night, the missus just took care of one of the feeds, and I had 7 hours. Boom, wake up fresh as. But I fell asleep with my leg hanging out of the bed, and I've tweaked my knee. Everything's swollen, everything's bent out of shape. I'm like the bloody Tin Man mooching around these days. I was speaking to a mate yesterday. He was picking something up off the floor and thought he dislocated his shoulder. It's like, this is what happens now. I know you're getting into the shape of your life at the moment.
I was gonna say I'm the opposite. I reckon I'm the fittest now I've been since I was 20. I think it's that thing. But what I will say is I've been trying to play football. and it's impossible.
It's so hard to get back into it.
As soon as you do any kind of explosive movement, your body just wants to shut down. So I was playing, and it was first time I got played 1 week, fine. Second week got a thigh strain. Rested it for set me back on my running. So rested it for 2-3 weeks, and then picked it up again. And for 45 minutes, I was fine. Just sort of going at 60%. Sort of, you know, it's like when you sort of coasting into the midfield space and then ball into me, then ball back out. Not really playing, really. Like you're sort of not doing anything wrong, and you kind of let anyone else do the playing, and you're just
doing the bit, just doing your bit.
Yeah, exactly. You're involved, and you're not making a mistake, and you're being available. So I was just doing that, and then I got a bit of space out wide, and the ball was coming to me, and I thought, right, here we go. So I step-oiled it into possession, sort of like you would do when I was 16, 17. And then I stand up the defender, and again, I get carried away. So
male ego here. Let's go.
Yeah, a proper shuffle. And he knows I'm right-footed, so I'm scudding. But I always had a propensity to go down my left because no one ever expected it on a right footer. And I know that's where you get space. So I went down, took the shot, scored, and then as soon as I finished it, fire's gone again. And all it took was just for 1 second to not play within myself, and I got injured straight away. It's impossible to play again.
I'm looking forward to my son, hopefully one day, taking on my athletic prowess, and maybe I can give him some of the wisdom that I never got. And that can be my way out of this life. What I know other than that, it's just the golf life now. I like to talk about football. I like to watch football. Playing it kills me, and I miss it. I admit that my favourite times in my life is being involved in a team and playing. But my body just cannot do it at the moment.
I miss it and not miss it. I don't miss it now because it doesn't feel the same when you're not able to do what you could do. And I find it really frustrating.
No, I honestly miss training regularly.
That's what I mean. Like, I don't think I could do that.
Going to a match and stuff.
Yeah.
Not that I could do it now, but the ability to do it and be around everyone. Anyway, enough of old man corner. Let's get into the future. What does this Premier League season, this football season, look like? Have you got any like hot takes? Even any early predictions? A bit general, a bit broad, maybe.
Yeah, I did, but no, I don't. So at the end of last season, I felt that Newcastle could win the league. I felt like with that they were coming strong at that point, and they were 2 or 3 additions away from really pushing Liverpool. I thought I did wonder if Liverpool would be able to maintain, because it looked like Liverpool were running out of steam a little bit at the end of back in the year. However, the summer has completely reversed my opinion on that.
They've been. I want to get onto Newcastle in a minute because I want to talk Isak and everything then. But yeah, it's been such a poor summer. I agree with you. Not that I thought they were close to winning the league, but on their trajectory and the way that Eddie Howe had them, like that 11, 12 players performing, like maybe with a 15, 16, it's like, yeah.
Yeah, 100%. I genuinely thought they could be in a title race. And not necessarily win it, but definitely. I thought they were the team that could potentially push Liverpool, maybe Arsenal. I'm sure we'll touch on Arsenal, but I thought Newcastle could be right up there. But no, I don't, because Liverpool they're blowing the market away, really. And by going and buying Isak, they're putting Newcastle right back in their box.
Right.
But might as well get on to that, I think.
So we'll do that next. So that's your hot take. Newcastle will not be close anymore.
Well, no, in terms of other hot takes.
Can I tell you mine?
Yeah, go on. While I'm thinking.
I think this year will be a managerial bloodbath.
Why?
I think, so who are the newly promoted managers? I'm not sure the Sunderland manager's name, but he's just signed a new contract.
Reggie Legree.
Burnley have Scott Parker, who conceded an extraordinarily limited amount of goals last year. Like, didn't they concede like 23 goals or something? I know they went through
Yeah.
a period without about 13 games in a row without conceding at all.
Didn't do well with Bournemouth when he brought them up, though. That's my big worry with Scott Parker. He threw the
Or
towel in
Fulham,
very early,
when he
didn't
brought Fulham up as well. Yeah, he's on record as talking about continuing to play expansive football. This is another fucking topic that we need to talk about at some point. Who else am I looking at here? Newly promoted manager, Sunderland, Burnley, and who am I missing? Leeds. Daniel Farke was already on the way out. Seemingly, they were already talking about looking at a new manager. They've got a tough start. I feel like loads of teams have got a really tough start. I think the beginning of the season, the first 10 games is going to be an absolute. Once we're 10 games in, close to that. That
very exciting time at Leeds. Very, very wealthy ownership group. Red Bull Group very much involved as well.
Well, this is why I think Daniel Farke may be on the brink already.
Possibly.
Possibly. And then we look at the current managers who may be in trouble. I don't see a successful year ahead for West Ham and Graham Potter, and I don't know what happens there.
Very uninspiring signing of Callum Wilson. I thought that is uninspiring. If you're looking for something to cling on to in hope for, if you're a West Ham fan, and we'll touch on Paquetá a little bit in a moment, but like that's an uninspiring.
Do you know what I'm saying? Like once we start getting into it, dare you even say if Man City have a terrible start coming off the poorest season under Guardiola, and with charges looming, whether we ever hear about them or not, whether these just charges are a thing of fiction that we've become have become part of the lexicon, and you just go, 115, and no one knows what that means. Is Guardiola has got plenty credit in the bank for a lifetime, but do the owners feel the same? Who knows? And the other one I put in there is probably Amorim. I think if Man United get off to a sticky start, they've backed him. I think people like him and want to give him a chance. But
you look all right in pre-season, to be fair.
People always want to give you a chance and give you time as long as there's something to cling on to. As far as I can see as a Man United fan, there's nothing to cling on to from last season. Now he's had this mythical pre-season. This pre-season that he needed. Has it been successful in terms of signings? Arguably not at this point.
If they get a striker, I think they look a lot better.
Yeah,
if they get a striker,
I agree. There's still time here for that to change,
and they're in the market, aren't they? I think the link was set. Though he looks like he wants to go to Newcastle instead. But I
see Watkins at Man United. I see that being it's a good short-term deal for him and for Højlund to stick around.
Yeah, I wonder whether they'll end up with Kolo Muani on loan. I think that's what they'll end up with.
Not a bad
because
show.
He's available on loan. He went to Juventus on loan, and I think that might give them another year to find someone better, which I think is what I would probably do if I were them, because I wouldn't go with Watkins now at United.
What do you make of that hot take about managers?
Possibly, I can see it. I can definitely see it
because
happening.
Last season wasn't the case. It was I think obviously Ten Hag was the first one to go, but then after that it was slow uptake. Other than the newly promoted sides, I don't think there was much change.
There's going to be a lot of teams I think that did well that are going to struggle. So I think Bournemouth are going to have a poor year, because essentially what's happening is a lot of the Premier League teams are buying the better players from these sides. So
Bournemouth have lost all the defence with Zabani looking like he might be back at PSG now. They've made a good bit of money here, but with Kirkes, they didn't end up signing Kepa. I think the wages probably played into it there, but after losing Kepa, Kirkes, Zabani, Højlund, who am I missing? Another one.
And insert other Bournemouth player here. But they've still got Semenyo, haven't they? He's still there.
For now.
Yeah.
Sorry, the other one I failed to mention was Keith Andrews at Brentford.
Yeah, good old Keith.
Bit of a... He was at Bolton, weren't he?
He was at Bolton. He left on quite bad terms, Keith Andrews. Because he was... I think he was on a big wedge at Bolton when we were in quite financial trouble.
Part of the team that went down, yeah.
Well, no, he signed as part of the I think our first year in the Championship, he signed then.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but I think it was on 30k a week. I might be wrong, but I remember it being decent because we backed ourselves to go up on the first year of the parachute payments.
Anyway, with
Didn't.
yeah, I think he might be in trouble. 10 games is going to be a big turning point, like game week 10, however you want to look at it.
I get the feeling he knows what he's talking about and what he's doing, but I just look at that squad and I just think,
yeah, they lost the captain, they've lost Mbuemo, looks like they're going to lose Wissa. Then it starts looking real thin then.
100%.
Bought Jordan Henderson. That's the main signing.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's a good signing, but yeah. I think you're hoping there's 3 worse teams than you, I would say.
Exactly, yeah. So your hot take other than Newcastle?
Oh,
have you got something along them lines?
My hot take is I think Sunderland might stay up.
Me too, actually. I agree with that. I think
they'll book the trend.
Going down the Nottingham Forest route. Spend. Worry about it later.
They've signed good players as well. So I think they will have a good season. Other than that, what else do I think will happen? Don't know.
Well, I'll do, I'll interrupt you kindly. Big stories this season. Big stories that are probably worth an episode on their own. Lucas Paquetá being cleared. West Ham put out a statement. Was cleared of the betting charges against him. The allegations about spot fixing and this is over potentially getting booked in certain games and funds going off to Paquetá Island somewhere off the coast of Brazil. And that's all been cleared. I think, though, that takes us back to episode 2.
Yeah, it's one of our very first episodes. That's how long that's been going on. That's how long that's been going on.
Yeah. Well, that was... I think when we come out was the Ivan Toney stuff. And we covered that. And it was around the same time.
Yeah.
And in that time, Ivan Toney's been banned and come back.
Yeah.
Played for England and moved to Saudi.
It's been a long time coming. And it was Nick DeMarco, wasn't it? Defending Lucas Paquetá. And every single one of these cases he's involved in. Any these football tribunal cases.
Who is he?
He's a sports lawyer.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and he's very much involved in cases for clubs in tribunal type cases. So there's a lot of podcasts where he's got involved with, and he's a very interesting person to follow on Twitter and that kind of stuff. But yeah, Nick DeMarco. Okay. I'm not got a profile ready for him, but he's almost worthy of podcast himself, and he has featured on quite a few other podcasts. I do recommend having a search. Maybe we'll get him on here. Probably not on here, but we can try. We did try for Mbappe at the start.
Yes, that was one of our first tweets of a newly fledged non-podcasting yet company. Hey, Mbappe.
Mr. Mbappe. Mbappe, yeah. But yeah, no, we can obviously try, Martin. Who knows? We might bump into him at the awards night.
There's a lot about Paquetá that's interesting because right when this was announced, was coming out, was Man City had a bid turned down for him and was suspected to go back in for him and then didn't. So Paquetá's now been cleared, hypothetically, does he have a leg to stand on in terms of compensation?
I think that kind of question is going to be really interesting when they come out with the judgment.
Yeah.
We've not got the judgment yet, I don't think. It's just been, essentially, they've been informed that he's been cleared, but and we're recording this on Monday night. It might be out by...
Could be out, yeah.
Yeah. So we're recording on Monday night, and as far as, at the moment, it's not been out. So the honest answer is, let's see. I mean, like loss of earnings, that type of stuff. Potentially. Yeah, I mean, they're always... Yeah, but I suppose we'll see.
Interesting. Well, speaking of Manchester City, we are still awaiting the verdict from the case against the 115, went to 130, then it was 116. God knows, 100 and odd charges against them. The main ones being fraud, I think, is where the main punishment will come from. and there's maybe 35 or something about them. I like to listen to Stefan Borson when he's on TalkSport. He seems to be their go-to guy in terms of football finances, and he knows enough about the trial to at least shed some light on it. But that's the thing, we don't know anything about this trial and why it's taking so long.
No, but you've got to get it right, haven't you?
You have to get it right.
And it's massive. So each of these, go on. I was going to say the Everton and Forest ones were one breach.
I hold some confidence in the fact that the Premier League are willing to keep pursuing and chasing and pushing this despite its costs, that I believe that they are right here and that Manchester City deserve punishment.
Oh, there's no. I think that's one thing you can be sure of, is that to go through with this, you would think that the Premier League, are,
because they're only damaging their own product.
Position. Yeah, they are confident in their position to put it forward, or else it would be a massive cost to them to not do that.
They're only damaging their own product as well in this case. And like, there's the silver lining for Manchester City maybe that, how do you put this? If Manchester City are cleared, I believe it will be proven, or they will be able to prove enough that they have done enough right to escape punishment.
Yeah.
That way there can be some sort of rest easy that things were doing right, and the Premier League retained some sort of integrity for them years where they were in breach. I think it's 2007 to 2018 or something like that. I forget the numbers, but so maybe there's some hope there that even if Man City are cleared, then there is some integrity to the past seasons where they were successful. However, my gut feeling is that the longer this is dragged on, is the longer it proves the Premier League right more. I know this is pure speculation, it's pure opinion, but the fact that if someone keeps on at a case like this, that they are convinced in their conviction.
Who knows? I don't think we can draw a conclusion either way, to be honest. I think we're just going to have to, when it's one of those, like everyone, we're just going to have to wait and see, really.
So I guess we just wait for the next Stefan Borson update. They wanted it to be, maybe they were thinking it could have been this weekend, or August the 1st or something, when it's August the 1st is sort of the start of the new footballing calendar, if you will. So
that's maybe they went for that. Actually, that Club World Cup, I don't know where. It feels like we're still in last season.
God knows. Until that first Premier League ball's kicked, I'm not convinced that something's happening. The other big story dominating like transfer news has been Alexander Isak. Liverpool are having already broken the British transfer record this summer. Want to go again for the most in-demand striker in world football, you might say. You're behind the well-proven Haaland and Mbappe. There's only Alexander Isak worth looking at.
I mean, I personally put him above those two.
Yeah, maybe you're right. Yeah, but I mean, Haaland's got trebles to his name, Mbappe's got World Cups and everything to his name. Yeah. Isak, talent-wise, maybe you're right, but he hasn't got the CV that them two have.
No, fair. But yeah, it's massive. It's absolutely massive, and I think a lot of it is to stop him going somewhere else as well. It's almost as if they've got the means to do it. If we don't do it, someone else will, maybe.
Can I ask you about the timing? What you think about this? I mean, this whole saga will probably culminate in an episode at some point further down the line, towards the end of the window. But first of all, do you see him going? Do you see it being done? Or is there a world where he stays? And second of all, what do you think of the timing of the news that come out sort of about him wanting to explore his options, given the fact that the two potential clubs who were interested in him in Arsenal and Liverpool, Arsenal just sealed the deal for Victor Gyökeres, and Liverpool had just put 95 million euros down on Hugo Ekitike.
I think Isak was priority number one for both Liverpool and Arsenal. That's, I think, straight from the off.
Absolutely.
However, I think they've made noises all summer. And
who's made noises?
Liverpool have made noises to Newcastle all summer. This is what I think. This is how I think it's played out. No evidence that this is what happened. Just how I imagine it playing out. Made noises all summer to both Isak and Newcastle. Isak's been relatively chilled out of it, thinking it might happen and Liverpool might make a bid. However, the season gets closer. Liverpool want a striker in. There's no noise from Newcastle about them even thinking about selling Isak. So they go and get Ekitike. Isak shits himself. So when that triple transfer thing was happening, I think that's when Isak started kicking off.
Mm.
When the news came in that Liverpool had gone and got Ekitike, I think that's where Isak's like, I've missed out on a once in a lifetime opportunity there to play for Liverpool. But no, again, don't know if that's what he thinks or how he feels. And I think then he started making noises back to Liverpool going, if you're still interested, I'm going to kick up a stink now. Like, I want this to happen. I want this to happen. If you're still interested, I'm going to kick up a stink. And I think it then snowballed from there. That's how I think it played out.
I'm really surprised at the timing. I think it's lazy. Given that his preference may have been Liverpool or Arsenal or a move all summer, that his agent hasn't been making noises. And it doesn't have to come from the player.
Well, this is it.
This is where it's sort of been made to.
Yeah, I'll be honest. I think it does. I think it's that. But the thing is, with a transfer this big, you have to kick up a stink because otherwise, Newcastle can't sell you. Because to Newcastle, to sell him, what that does to the whole project and how it appears to Newcastle fans is horrendous.
Given their struggles, like we said earlier, about signing people as well.
Correct. So if Newcastle can't be seen to selling Isak. Now, if he kicks up a stink, makes it about him and the fans turn on him, then that's different. And that's the avenue. It almost has to be that way. And it was similar with Kane with City. That's why that didn't happen. Because Kane didn't kick up. If Kane had kicked up a stink, Man City would have been a treble winner. But he couldn't do it. He had to kick up a stink to make that happen. It doesn't happen until he does that.
I agree. It's very odd. I'm interested to see how it plays out. I do think there's a world where he stays at Newcastle right now. I think there's very few players who get away with it. You have to be good, number one.
Oh, yeah. The fans would forgive him.
Yeah. The second he steps onto that pitch for them again, it's done.
100% they'd forgive him. They'd definitely forgive him. I just don't think...
For him, he needs to move. He's got to move in terms of... I don't know how...
He doesn't, but I think
his
career's best served by playing for Liverpool. However, if he likes it in Newcastle, that's different. They're gonna reward him financially. He can earn the same money at Newcastle as he would earn at Liverpool.
He's got 3 years left on his deal, and that'll take him up to the age of 27, 28-ish.
Yeah, but he could easily demand a new 3 or 4 year deal at serious money. He has all the cards to do whatever he wants. But I think he ends up at Liverpool. I think it gets done.
Me too. I honestly do. Unfortunately, I mean that'll be some transfer window.
Too much has happened, I think, now for it. Don't get me wrong, he can be forgiven. I do agree, but I just think Liverpool have sort of played the hand there, and they've offered 120 million straight off the bat.
If Newcastle do end up doing a deal for Sesko, which looks like it's on the cards, it's going to be around the 90 million euro mark, which is significant. I mean, I like Sesko a lot, like what I've seen of him, but you know that really changes. I think Liverpool coming back in at that 120 mark, then
it's
the conversation changed.
Yeah, it's a very fair offer. I mean, don't worry, they may want more than that. I think they're saying 150. 120 million is not wasting your time offer. That is that's a very respectful offer, I think. It might get done at around 130, 135, that sort of level.
It's all the add-ons and everything as well.
Yeah, but they're not a million miles away with that opening offer. It's not 90 million.
So I think we'll wrap up an Isak chat when we know more. Lastly, a topic, maybe two topics, but we'll see. This is the opposite end of the spectrum because it doesn't always have to be Premier League and A-list and the super headline grabbing stories that we chat about on here. It's just things that pique our interest. But two clubs who are really suffering at the moment is Morecambe, who look days away from complete extinction. A football club that's over 100-year-olds, the heart of a community, if you will. Seaside Town Football Club, and yeah, they are really struggling. And also Sheffield Wednesday, who are a championship club, and the players are handing the notices in during the season. The season has started, and Sheffield Wednesday are. I mean, they were It was years before I knew that there was another team from Sheffield because. Until Neil Warnock turned up or something like that, I had no idea that there was two.
Yeah,
the Sheffield Wednesday were the one in the Premier League book and all sorts.
They're a massive club, Sheffield Wednesday, an absolutely massive club, and that situation very much echoes the Bolton situation. Very like it, very like it. Yeah, in terms of those last days of Eddie Davis types, where the plug's just been put on, and it's trying to get something over the line, and staff aren't being paid, wages aren't being paid. I mean, that Bolton situation, I had it as a fan, but you had it as an employee. You were there when a lot of that was going on.
That was rough. That was a rough time. My first day at Bolton Wanderers was the Dean Holdsworth and Ken Anderson's first day.
Yeah.
So that was the pits in Bolton Wanderers history. It was not a good time, and that was almost a time for hope when they had new owners come in, but people were pretty unconvinced quickly about what their intentions were with them. With that consortium, obviously, it ended up becoming just Ken Anderson, and
that happened within weeks and months, didn't it? That Dean Holdsworth was essentially moved out of the place. That was very quick.
Watching from the office that I had. Jim White on TalkSport counting down the survival days of Bury and Bolton Wanderers. I'll never forget that. That is a human being.
He denies that he knew that was there. I've heard him talk about that quite recently, Jim White. He says he didn't realise that was the graphic that they were showing.
I can't wait for the day that I get to speak to Jim White because I'll tell him.
I think he's full of shit with that. And I like Jim White, but I think he's talking shit.
Bad person. But what we're saying about Sheffield Wednesday, Simon Jordan, his mate, has been very vocal about trying to get his Arab friends and Saudi friends, whoever else, to buy into.
Oh yeah,
maybe the biggest club that is maybe an untapped resource, biggest area of the country that doesn't have a large consortium or foreign ownership come in and to try and revamp it. I know there is foreign ownership at even Sheffield United, but not in terms of the size of the wealth in like a Premier League style.
Well, it's very much the two well-supported clubs. It's not like there's one, Sheffield United and Sheffield Wednesday are two well-supported clubs. I'd say Wednesday is arguably bigger.
Yeah, I think so.
They're both, well, not arguably, they're definitely bigger. But it's the two very well-supported clubs. It's not. There's very much It's very much a two-team city. There is a lot of potential for Sheffield Wednesday.
So, as you understand it, what's the deal? Is it just ownership struggles? Is it money?
Cash flow, yeah, cash flow. It looks like there's been quite a few red flags over the years, and particularly over it sort of the back end of last season. It kept getting worse. There were these instances where they'd miss one payment, get in. It becomes problematic when you miss two sets of player wages, because then they can hand notice in. Then they can walk away from the contracts, which is what started to happen. I think Josh Windass was the first to do it, but there's more and more. Danny Rose left the manager 10 days ago.
Well, just going back to Bolton Wanderers times, but that was one of the things. I know David Wheater, who was there at the time, was the vocal member of the changing room who was coming out, and he was the one attending PFA meetings and just trying to get, because the PFA will step in for only a certain amount of time and only cover so much, and insurance and stuff will only cover so much. And in League One and even League Two at that time, you're not on great wages.
No,
you maybe
it's all relative, isn't it? You will live within your means, and if your means are higher, you will live with higher means. But
the cars on the car park would suggest otherwise.
Well, yeah, I suppose. But you want to. But I mean, how are they financing those cars? Like it's all about how you. It's all relative, isn't it? I suppose. No one likes to. Everyone to an extent will live from payday to payday, apart from the absolute super 1%. But
I hope that Sheffield Wednesday gets sorted. The only thing is if you're a prospective buyer, you're going to wait till the stock's at its lowest before you buy, and you get the cheapest deal. Yeah. It's not the best for the club. They may enter administration and 30 points, 15 points.
That is an argument that invariably can and does happen, and it can actually be better for the club, but it's not good for the local community, because a lot of those times those local suppliers are the ones that miss out when they go into administration, because essentially they may have to accept lower money owed, and it can be very problematic for local suppliers administration. But this is how it goes, unfortunately.
Well, spinning that back, Morecambe have been suspended from playing, suspended from activities in the Football League.
Yeah. It's not looking great at all for Morecambe.
There seems to be, from what I can gather, a consortium that wants to buy them, or a group who want to sell.
Punjab Warriors, isn't it?
Yeah.
And is it Whittingham? David Whittingham?
That name rings a bell. I'm not super clued up on it. But this is where we need to be involved here, mate. Fixing football. Maybe we could be the next Punjab Warriors.
Buying Morecambe.
That'd be nice. I can move to a trip to the seaside.
It's a nice part of the world.
Why don't you think Tyson Fury's bought it? Side note. He's training at the football club every other day.
Well, I was going to say he lives walking distance, and I know that part of the world quite well. It is walking distance in the ground he lives.
That's his gym.
Well, yeah, it is. It is a 5-minute. Like it's not a massive town, Morecambe. So it's all very. I suppose it's like anything. He might not want to.
I mean, he clearly doesn't want to, because he's bit his hand off for it. But I just wonder why he hasn't.
Bit of a
maybe
money
it's just asking the most, like, ask the richest man in your area to stick in his hands in his pockets. Like, I don't care.
Yeah, I just don't want to. I don't want to own a football club. That looks like I get it. I mean, I kind of get it for when people sort of make that link, but at the same time, like, could you be asked? Like,
maybe it's a lazy link. You just think of most famous man in that area.
Yeah.
Or Durand out, see what
he's
happens.
Wealthy enough, but you'd think he might have been able to influence potential investment in there.
I only say that because at one point I'm sure he was, or maybe he was just offering sponsorship. I think he maybe sponsored the club or something like that. Or
it's probably that would be more likely to do it. Like,
yeah.
There are things he could do for fundraising perspective, like, maybe have a fight there or something. That kind of thing that something get off the ground, but might not want to necessarily buy the club.
Anyway, so we've touched on a million topics here, but I think we've covered a lot of ground in terms of who we are as a podcast. We're going to have guests. We're going to have our friends Scott and Luke jump in now and again when we need to talk about, God forbid, Chelsea again. Maybe even Manchester United. Who knows?
I'm not allowed to talk about Man United anymore.
Well, it's touchy subject these days.
Yeah, it is touchy. It is touchy. Apparently, it's all I talk about is what I've been told.
But I mean, we're gonna have not just them two, but there's gonna be fan episodes coming up. We already got Blackpool, Newcastle, Chelsea, Manchester United, Arsenal, Preston, Tottenham. Can you think of any others that are booked in? We've just released the Everton episode.
We had a Stockport one who flaked it, so he might come back.
He might be back.
Yeah, they've won.
We're looking for fans of other clubs who want to come and get involved. Talk to us, fill us in, let us know what you need to fix about the football club. Let's just build a bit of a community here and enjoy it and have a bit of a laugh, talk some nonsense and slag off Bolton and take the piss out of Arsenal and do whatever you want.
100%.
No Wigan fans.
No,
You're not welcome.
Fuck right off.
And that is everything. Website's still down, so you can find all our information if you go on X as @FixingFootball or Instagram is @FixingFootballPodcast. And we will be back next week or even in the next couple of days with the preview episode. We want to try and release as much as possible. Thank you for staying with us. Thank you for getting involved. Get involved with the fantasy football. And Liam, thanks a lot.
Goodbye, everyone.
Bye.